I stared at the hospital room door, watching it stay closed. The antiseptic smell mixed with the faint scent of baby powder from the bassinet beside my bed. My daughter, only 6 hours old, slept peacefully, unaware that she'd entered the world through an emergency C-section that had left me weak and shaking. My phone sat on the rolling table, screen dark. No messages, no calls, nothing. I picked it up with trembling hands and scrolled through my contacts. Mom, Dad, Lisa. My thumb hovered over Mom's name. I'd called her 3 hours ago, right after they wheeled me back from recovery. She'd said they were finishing up some errands and would be here soon. That was at 2 p.m. It was past 5 now. Maybe they hit traffic. Maybe Dad's truck broke down again. Maybe there was an emergency. I opened Instagram, just to distract myself from the silence. The first post on my feed made my breath catch. It was Lisa, my sister, at what looked like an extravagant party. Pink and blue balloons everywhere, a massive cake, designer decorations. The caption read, "Surprise, we're having a girl. Thank you all for celebrating with us." Posted 20 minutes ago. My fingers went numb. I scrolled through the photos. There was Mom, laughing, holding a champagne flute. Dad, arm around Lisa's husband Marcus, my best friend Jessica, who'd promised yesterday she'd be at the hospital first thing. Even my Aunt Caroline, who lived 2 hours away and supposedly couldn't make the trip to see me, they were all there, at Lisa's gender reveal party. While I lay here alone, hours after nearly dying bringing their granddaughter into the world. I called Mom. It went straight to voicemail. I called Dad. Same thing. Lisa didn't even have her phone on, apparently. A nurse came in to check on me, her smile fading when she saw my face. "Honey, are you all right? Is it the pain?" I couldn't speak. I just shook my head and pointed at my phone. She glanced at the screen, and I watched her expression shift from concern to something that looked like anger. "Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry." "They knew," I whispered. "I told them last week when the C-section was scheduled." "Lisa knew. She scheduled her party for today anyway." The nurse squeezed my hand. "Do you have anyone else we can call? The baby's father? James is on his way from the airport. His flight lands in 2 hours. He was at a training conference in Chicago. I told him not to leave early, that Mom and Dad would be here." My voice cracked. I didn't want him to waste the money changing his flight. "Well, you've got me until my shift ends," she said firmly. "And that baby girl needs her mama, not people who don't know how to show up when it matters." After she left, I lay there staring at the ceiling. This wasn't new. This was Lisa's whole life. The golden child. The one who married Marcus Zhang, whose family owned half the commercial real estate in San Mateo. The one who got a designer wedding while I got married at City Hall because James is just a teacher, honey. No need for anything fancy. Just a teacher. That's what Mom had said when I told them we were engaged. Dad had actually laughed. "Well, at least he's stable. Won't make much, but teachers have good benefits." They'd barely come to our wedding. Mom had a headache. Dad had to help a friend move. They showed up for 20 minutes, took a few photos, and left. I'd cried in the bathroom while James held me and promised that we didn't need anyone's approval to be happy. And we were happy. James worked hard. He taught AP history at a public high school and did professional development trainings on weekends. I worked as a nurse at the same hospital where I'd just given birth. We had a small apartment in Daly City, drove used cars, and saved every penny we could. We weren't glamorous. We weren't wealthy. But we loved each other, and we were building something real. Or so I'd thought, until today reminded me that to my family, we were just the boring, poor relatives they tolerated. My phone buzzed. Finally, I grabbed it. It was a text from Lisa. "Oh my God, Maya. You'll never believe how amazing this party is. Marcus really outdid himself. Mom and Dad are having such a good time. Wish you could be here. How's the baby?" How's the baby? Like an afterthought. Like my daughter wasn't her niece. Like I hadn't just gone through surgery. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my email and started typing to my supervisor, requesting to extend my maternity leave by 2 weeks. I couldn't face going back while feeling like this. James arrived at 7:30, bursting through the door with flowers, balloons, and a gift bag. His face was flushed from running through the hospital. "Maya! Oh my God, I'm so sorry I wasn't here. I should have left yesterday. I should have." He stopped when he saw my face, What happened? Is the baby okay? Are you okay? I told him everything. He listened, his jaw getting tighter with each word. When I finished, he sat down heavily in the chair beside my bed. They didn't come at all? They were at Lisa's party. She scheduled a party the same day as your C-section? Apparently. He ran his hands through his hair, something he only did when he was furious. Maya, I need to tell you something. What? I'm not just a teacher. I blinked at him. What do you mean? I mean, yes, I teach. I love teaching. But the trainings I do on weekends, the conferences I go to, they're not just professional development. He pulled out his phone and showed me a website. I consult for educational technology companies. I help them design curriculum software. I've been doing it for 3 years. The website showed his name, James Chen, Senior Education Consultant, testimonials from major companies, a bio that mentioned his expertise in adaptive learning systems. James, what? I make $400,000 a year. The room spun. What? I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want it to change how people saw me. I didn't want your family to suddenly be interested because I made money. I wanted them to respect you for you, and respect us for us. His voice cracked. I wanted to prove that we didn't need their approval or their help. $400,000? Yes. And Maya, there's more. He pulled up a bank app on his phone. See this account? I've been putting money away since we got married. For our future. For our kids' college. For your parents, actually. My parents? Your dad mentioned once that they were struggling with their mortgage. I paid it off last year. $500,000. I had my accountant do it anonymously through a debt relief program so they'd never know it was me. I couldn't breathe. You paid off their house? I thought maybe if they had less financial stress, they'd be happier, be better to you. But I realize now that money was never the issue. They just don't see your value. He took my hand. But I do. And this little girl will. And that's what matters. Tears were streaming down my face. James, why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to love me for who I am, not what I make. And because I know you, Maya. If you'd known, you would have wanted to help everyone. Your parents, your sister, everyone who ever made you feel small. And I didn't want that. I wanted us to build our life first. He pulled out another document from his bag. This is an investment account I set up when we found out you were pregnant. It's at $2.3 million right now. It's for her future, so she never has to feel less than anyone. I sobbed. Not from sadness, but from the overwhelming realization that while my family saw James as boring, ordinary, beneath us, he'd been quietly building an empire and taking care of the people who didn't even appreciate him. The boring teacher, I whispered. The boring teacher, he smiled sadly. Your mom called me that at our wedding, remember? Said at least I was stable, even if I wasn't exciting like Marcus with his real estate money. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Be free. He kissed my forehead. You don't owe them anything, Maya. Not your time, not your energy, and certainly not an explanation. We sat in silence for a while, just holding hands and watching our daughter sleep. My phone started buzzing around 9 p.m. One call, then another, then another. By 9:30, I had 89 missed calls. I finally answered when my mom called for the 15th time. Maya, oh my God, we've been trying to reach you for hours. I was busy. You know, recovering from major surgery. Alone. Honey, don't be dramatic. We told you we'd come by after Lisa's little party. It's not our fault it ran late. These things happen. It wasn't a little party, Mom. I saw the pictures. It was huge. Well, yes, Marcus spared no expense. But that's not the point. The point is, we need to talk to you about something important. My stomach dropped. What? Well, your father and I have been thinking. We're getting older, and we could really use some help. We were wondering if you and James might consider moving in with us. We have that extra room, and you could help with expenses, and we could help with the baby. Help with expenses? Mom, didn't you get your mortgage paid off last year? Silence. Then, how did you know about that? Because James paid it off. More silence. Then, Dad's voice in the background. James? The teacher? Yes, Dad. The teacher. The one you laughed at. The one you said would never amount to anything. He paid off your $500,000 mortgage and made sure you'd never know it was him. That's impossible. Teachers don't make that kind of. He makes $400,000 a year as a consultant. He's been doing it the whole time you've been treating him like he wasn't good enough for me. I heard muffled conversation. Then Lisa's voice. Wait, James has money? Like real money? Oh, so now you're all interested? Now that you know he's not just a teacher? Well, guess what? We don't need you. We don't want your help. And we certainly don't owe you anything. Maya, don't be ridiculous, Mom said. We're family. Family shows up. Family doesn't skip the birth of their grandchild for a party. Family doesn't treat people like they're worthless because of their job title. My voice was shaking. I called you from recovery, Mom. I was scared and in pain and alone, and you sent me to voicemail so you could drink champagne at Lisa's party. We were going to come after. You weren't. You only called because the party ended and you got bored, or because you want something. What is it? What do you need? Another long pause. Then, well, your father's truck broke down, and we were hoping. I hung up. Then I blocked all their numbers. James watched me with something like pride in his eyes. You okay? I will be. Over the next week, they tried everything. They showed up at the hospital, but I'd left instructions at the desk that they weren't allowed in. They sent flowers, which I donated to other patients. They sent cards, which I threw away unopened. Jessica, my so-called best friend, tried to apologize. Said she didn't realize how hurt I'd be. Said Lisa had invited her months ago and it would have been rude not to go. You promised you'd be here when I had the baby, I told her. I know, but I didn't think you'd mind if I went to the party first. I was going to come after. After 6 hours of me being alone following an emergency C-section? Maya, you're being really unfair. I can't be in two places at once. You made a choice. And the choice showed me exactly where I stand in your priorities. I blocked her too. 2 weeks later, James and I were settling into a routine at home. Our daughter, Emma, was perfect. Feeding every 3 hours, sleeping in little bursts, filling our tiny apartment with her presence. I was changing her diaper when James came in with the mail. You got something from a law office, he said, handing me an envelope. My heart sank. Were my parents suing us? For what? I opened it carefully. Inside was a letter from an estate attorney. Dear Mrs. Chen, I am writing to inform you that you have been named as the sole beneficiary of the estate of Thomas Chen, who passed away on March 3rd. Mr. Chen was your husband's grandfather. The estate includes property valued at approximately $800,000, stocks and bonds worth $2.1 million, and personal effects to be distributed per his wishes. Please contact our office at your earliest convenience to begin the probate process. I looked at James, stunned. Your grandfather left you everything? Us? James corrected softly. He left us everything. I visited him every week at the nursing home. Your family never understood why I'd spend my Saturdays with an old man who barely recognized me half the time, but he was kind. And he told me once that kindness is the only thing that matters in the end. James, this is millions of dollars. I know, and I think we should use some of it to start a foundation. For kids whose families don't support them. Scholarships for students whose parents think teaching or nursing or any honest work isn't good enough. I kissed him, my boring, wonderful, extraordinary husband. That night, my phone lit up with a notification. Someone had commented on one of Lisa's Instagram posts about her gender reveal party. Didn't your sister have a baby that same day? Kind of messed up that you scheduled a party then. The comment had 300 likes. Lisa had deleted it, but not before someone screenshot it and posted it to a local moms group, where it went viral. Sister schedules gender reveal on same day as siblings emergency C-section, read the headline. My phone started buzzing again. More calls from Mom, from Dad, from Lisa, whose comments section was now full of people calling her selfish and cruel. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. I was sitting in our living room, Emma asleep on my chest, James beside me researching scholarships and foundations, when I realized something. I'd spent 29 years trying to be good enough for people who would never see my worth, but I was already enough. I had always been enough. The boring teacher and the ordinary nurse, building an extraordinary life. 3 months later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Mom, handwritten. Maya, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. but I need you to know that I see now what I did. I missed the birth of my granddaughter because I was too caught up in appearances, in what other people thought, in treating your sister like she was more important because she married someone wealthy. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Your father and I have been in therapy. We're trying to understand why we treated you the way we did. We're trying to be better. We don't expect anything from you. We just want you to know that we're sorry, and we love you, and we're proud of you. Whether you believe that or not is up to you, but it's true. I read it twice. Then I put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd be ready to talk to them. Maybe someday I'd let Emma meet her grandparents, if they could prove they'd actually changed. But not today. Today, I had everything I needed. A husband who saw my value when no one else did. A daughter who would grow up knowing she was loved unconditionally, and the freedom that came from finally letting go of people who would never appreciate me. James came home that evening with takeout and found me on the couch, Emma asleep in her bassinet beside me. "Good day?" he asked, kissing my forehead. "The best," I said. And I meant it, because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's building a beautiful life without them and realizing you never needed their approval in the first place.